The Illinois Treasurer's Office Women's History Month awardee for outstanding achievement in leadership goes to Leslie Sgro. Leslie Sgro grew up in Washington, D.C. and claimed Springfield as her hometown in 1987. She's currently president of Benchmark Development, a general contracting and property development company. But she also serves as the president of the Springfield Park District and has been elected 8 consecutive terms, beginning in 1991, the longest tenure of any president in park board history. Leslie oversees 34 parks covering 2,600 acres of land. The first ever park completely designed for citizens of all abilities, with a LEED Platinum certified building, was under her watch. In addition to her volunteer work with the Park District, Leslie is heavily involved in volunteering around Springfield. She spends time helping with charity food and clothing giveaways. She helped organize the Springfield Micro Pantry Helpers. This informal group regularly fills small outdoor pantries around the Springfield community. Leslie has been the director of an interfaith group that distributes Thanksgiving Day baskets to more than 200 families per year. Leslie has served on many charity boards through the years and currently serves on the Hoagland Center for the Arts and the Sgro Club. Leslie is married to Greg Sgro, with whom she has 3 children and a grandchild, with what I hear is 1 more on the way. So we'll talk about your service, but how proud of you of that family?
Oh, I'm so proud of my husband and my kids, and I'm very fortunate that I've had so much support and a tightly knit family over the years. So very fortunate.
So family is very important. Most people need to have a job, but not everyone agrees to give back to their community. So Leslie, what inspires you to serve your community? What was the initial inspiration, and years later you continue, you haven't given up?
I love Springfield. I think it is a wonderful place to live, to raise my family and now my grandchildren. So I was raised with the ethic that you give back. Both of my parents were involved in their community and giving back. So I guess it is something I learned at home and I care tremendously about. I feel like I have been incredibly fortunate in my life in so many ways. And it's my responsibility to try to turn around and help others. And I try to do that in a variety of ways. Yeah, and I've tried to teach my kids, and I'm very proud of them. I said, you don't have to do everything, but you have to do something.
So I think those are words of wisdom people understand who want to spend time with their families. They want to have a fulfilling work life, and they want to give back to their community, but sometimes that can feel a little overwhelming to do all of those well. So this is a question a lot of leaders deal with. How do you strike a balance between family and work and community service?
I think family balances you out. When the kids were smaller, and we had like so many families, we had baseball games and musicals and all the various assorted things. I felt like wearing a hat that said taxi service at one point or another. But I remember having this conversation with my husband once that he's like, that's a lot of boards. I think before we add any more boards, maybe you should go off a board. So I think, it's a family negotiation as well as a time. What do you think you have time for? And for everybody that is different. And I respect that, just because I've chosen, certain time to, I'll allocate certain time to do certain things. That doesn't mean that's the right thing for everybody. But I do believe, and this is my other part of my saying to my kids is, it's a rope that needs to be pulled. So you pick up a thread. If everybody picks up a thread of the rope that interests them, pick up one little thing. And if you have 10 or 15 minutes or you have an hour or whatever, pick up whatever interests you and pull on that thread. And if we're all pulling, eventually the rope is going to move the right direction. So there's so many things. As you said, it can be overwhelming.
Well, that's good advice. I think you need to communicate with your family. You can't do this all yourself, and you can't do everything, and you need to learn to say no at some point.
Yes, I'm not great at that, but I'm better.
The problem with being a good leader is people keep coming to you and asking you to be involved in something. But you've given a lot of your time to the Park District. So what supplied that initial spark? What attracted you to devote your time to pick up and pull on that thread?
That's a great question. I think at the time that I started the Park District, I had little kids at home. We were going to the parks and enjoying them. And I thought, if I'm going to enjoy this, then I should participate. And the opportunity came up to run for the park board and run for park board president. And I seized it and thought, I can help with this. I'm sure that I can help with this. And it has been just an honor and a truly rewarding time for me on the park board. It is a way to have a tangible impact on your community. I drove by the other day a brand new park system that we put into place, actually with the help of a state grant, in an area that hadn't seen any new equipment or anything in quite some time. And I drove by on a pretty spring day, and I bet there were 50 kids playing on this new playground system. And I just started grinning from ear to ear and getting a little teary-eyed because I helped with that. Nobody does anything, even at the Park District. No one person does it. It's a team effort. But I thought I helped with that, and it was incredibly rewarding.
That is a great story. So one of the great things I see about really great leaders is they help people follow in their footsteps. They help mentor. So if there's a young person who can say, hey, I'd like to make a difference in my community, what advice would you give young people who want to help accomplish their goals?
Well, and by the way, I feel passionately that as professional women, I have tried also to help other young women come into various, either the workforce or the volunteer force. I think that's our obligation. If we've had some success, that we turn around and share that and ensure that the next generation is successful as well. I guess, what I would say is pick something that makes your heart happy, that you get joy from doing that activity. On the arts board, I'm surrounded by people who love to perform and to reach out to the community in that capacity. And so that it makes everybody happy to help. So pick something that's your thing, that brings you joy, and find a way to give back in that lane, because then you'll enjoy it, and it won't be extra work. It'll be extra fun.
Yeah. Well, we love talking about fun and things, but we can't ignore challenges. We talk about some of those challenges for balancing life, and then you get hit with a once in a century pandemic that upends all of our lives. It has got me now doing these awards remotely. So what challenges and struggles did you face during the pandemic in organizations you were involved with? How did you get through?
Well, interestingly, as you said, and you pointed out, this is a team effort on the Park District. We have a great board. We have a tremendous staff. And we got on the phone early in March of 2020 when things were shutting down. We had to have conversations about, are we going to leave the parks open? What are we going to do about the building facilities? What capacities were, we even had conversations about, should the traffic flow be, of people walking be all one way? Because those were ideas that were floated. But I think we came to a good balance. I'm so glad we left all our parks open, because I think the pandemic made people appreciate what an important role parks play in their lives, because they are, we have so many outdoor spaces that people could enjoy with their families. That we got a lot of positive feedback from that. And we actually, for example, golf, our golf play is at the highest level it's been in years, because people could golf with with their family member or close friend in their circle and enjoy the outdoors and still get a little exercise.
That is perfect advice. My daughter and I rediscovered parks in our community, and it got us out playing tennis. My daughter now is
Right.
enjoying tennis. So there are good things that came out of the pandemic.
That's right.
Now, you mentioned how important it is to mentor young women to help provide that next generation of leaders. So as we wrap up, any other words of wisdom you'd like to share with individuals following in your footsteps? People who, may be a little overwhelmed, but they want to be agents of change in their communities.
I would say don't be afraid. And that those are big words and easy to say, but just remember, put on, even if you don't feel brave and courageous, put on the brave face and go for it, because life is short and you don't know until you try. So I would just say, think about what your dreams are and go after them, because why not? The only people who don't achieve their dreams are the people who give up too soon. So chase it, and also go with the flow. The other thing is, you never know where life is going to take you. If you had asked me as a little girl if I would happily spend my days in central Illinois, I would have said, really? But life took me here and I embraced it, and I'm so glad I did, and I love it here. So go with the flow. See where life takes you. Be open-minded to your adventures, but chase your dreams, I guess, is what I would say.
Well, Leslie, we're glad that you went with the flow and it brought you here to Central Illinois.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving back to your community. And that's why you were chosen as the Treasurer's Office awardee for Outstanding Achievement and Leadership. Leslie, congratulations and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm truly humbled and honored.